and now we are recording.
Okay.
Is that
it's very important that we record.
Yes.
I mean, what we talk about is essential to this podcast, but getting it on tape, it's not on tape.
In memory.
Yeah.
Finally, I got you on one of those.
Oh, what?
You always get me. I'm like, I need to tape this. And you're like, tape? Finally, went the other way.
That was the joke.
Yeah.
That was the joke. Yeah.
If you don't start making more sense, we're going to have to put you in a home.
Welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome, now in a convenient resealable bag. Please welcome your hosts, Mike and Darin.
Hi, I'm Darin.
I am Mike.
Welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome. This is episode 223.
Strap in, kids. This one's going to be a funky one.
Yes, it is.
This is episode, you said 223.
223.
So people don't like it when we talk about episode numbers.
Right? Why?
They get upset.
Okay.
We've had ones of fan mail against that.
What is upsetting about that?
Stop talking about what number of episode you're on. Stop talking about all this and just get to the meat.
Okay, well, we're doing that now.
Get to the meat of the episode, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, okay.
If nothing else, we're going to...
You won't hear me say 223 anymore tonight.
We had feedback years ago.
Yeah.
Someone complained that we should be funny within the first 2 minutes.
Yes.
Then it was crickets.
And you never let that go.
I never let it go. And then we had another feedback, not necessarily for our podcast, but for a podcast that said, quit talking about what number the episode is and how many people are listening. Just talk about your stuff.
Okay.
So here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Tonight, One of the things I'm going to talk about is the cost of milk and why they can't make it easier for people to buy it without having to do math.
For me, longtime listeners will remember we had an episode called the Blankety Blank Basketball League of America.
Yep.
That's where I was talking about one of my son's basketball teams. My other son, Charlie, we had a basketball incident this past weekend. So this is part two of the Blankety Blank Basketball League of America.
Okay. Yeah. Before we get into the fun, Mike and we do this podcast from Westchester, Ohio. And Westchester is about 40 minutes, maybe a little bit more, from a town in Ohio called Springfield.
Where The Simpsons is filmed.
There's a Springfield in every state.
Okay.
This particular Springfield, Ohio, made international, global news. And we never talk about politics, but my God.
But we're allowing it.
And I know that, this podcast, we recorded in advance. So by the time you hear this, it's going to be a week and a half, maybe more. And you're going to be really, really, really tired of hearing about the dogs and cats being eaten in Springfield, Ohio, per reports. But our perspective on this is,
hey, what happened?
Seriously? Springfield gets put on the map for this?
For that. So first off...
I have comedian friends who live in there, and their minds are blown. Like, we're international.
Yeah.
All over the globe. Springfield, Ohio.
So... Booba and Marbles, by the way, are in witness protection
Mike
program
has two dogs, yes.
Yeah.
They are under lock and key.
I'm sorry. I have an undisclosed number of pets. I don't want them to know the type, and I don't want them to know the number.
That's right. That's smart.
Bleep as you have to, but don't edit a word out.
Okay.
Like Darin said, we haven't gone political.
No.
And we had a board meeting before this episode.
Yes.
At this point in our show's life, with what happened this week,
yes.
Let me put this into perspective.
Okay.
This is like having a podcast that talks about music, but refuses to discuss
Taylor Swift.
Or I was going to say rock music.
Okay.
And then AC/DC comes to town and plays their final concert.
Right.
And this is a terrible example.
It is.
This is a terrible example. Yeah. I'll just say it for what it is. This is like having a podcast where you say you don't talk about politics, and then you have the former president of the United States come on and say they're eating cats and dogs in a town near where this podcast is recorded.
Right. I thought I had fallen asleep while watching it and then woke up and was dreaming. I actually looked at my wife because Mom came over and Cameron was watching it with us, and I looked at Liv and said, "What the hell happened?"
Yeah.
Because it came out of nowhere.
It
just...
And again, we apologize. We know you're sick of hearing about it, but my God,
Yeah.
For our patrons, for our Twitch viewers who are with us live just a couple days after it happened, right now as we sit here, it's fresh and steaming and on the side of the road, and someone needs to put it in a baggie, tie it up, and throw it in the nearby trash receptacle.
Hang it in Mike's tree.
Yes, throw it, sling it in a tree.
It was rich.
It was an exciting...
It was something that I don't think we'll ever see or hear the sights of that again.
I will say this, and I know this has been trod over.
Did I just say we're never going to hear the sights of that again? I think I did.
I know exactly what you said.
There you go.
I will say this. I've watched most of the presidential debates in my lifetime that have happened I think I remember seeing Reagan. That might have been the first debate I remember seeing on TV. And
was that the you or no Jack Kennedy? No, that was Walter Mondale.
Yeah, that was more. But I will say that say what you will about current candidates, it makes debate watching hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got bingo cards now. Bess and I made popcorn. Our 10-year-old actually watched it with us.
Yeah.
And he thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's getting people involved
usually
in politics.
you get like one zinger or two, or like finally somebody said something. Yeah.
Yeah, they stick out.
Right.
That's the thing.
Right.
There's always the debates where things stick out. There was, what was it with the... well, you just said the one. I know Jack
You're
Kennedy,
no Jack Kennedy.
You know Jack Kennedy.
Yeah, that was Dan Quayle and...
Yeah. The other guy.
Whoever ran against
This is why we're not a political
Who
podcast.
the hell ran against... Dan Quayle was George Bush Sr.'s VP, and he ran against...
the other guy. Who George Bush Sr. ran against?
Was it Jack Kemp? Who the hell was it? I don't know, but anyway, he's...
Jack Kemp. Just call it Jack Kemp. These people don't care.
This isn't a political
podcast.
But
it's a comedy podcast. But at this point, politics has dove straight into... we didn't go there. They came to us.
Play with rock.
And son of a bitch, man, you've got to give it to us.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just pause for a minute here.
Yeah.
We started this thing in 2020.
Yeah.
September 2020, our first episode came out.
In the ripe fruits of COVID.
Yeah. We made it through that. We made it through January 6th. We made it through all that stuff. We made it through the campaigns. We've made it through all this point. We're not, what's that called?
Doing it.
Yeah, we're not. We're not
political.
Intentionally avoiding it anymore because at this point, we're intentionally avoiding comedy gold. Yeah. So we hope you all enjoyed the debate the other day. I don't know if it will have happened by the time this episode airs, but I cannot wait for the Walls and Vance debate.
Well, I'll tell you, and then I'm proud of myself because I commented today because someone was accusing one of the candidates of having the questions given in advance.
Oh, yeah.
And to which I said, they're the same questions.
Yeah.
And you talk about abortion, you talk about immigration, you talk about the economy, you talk about foreign policy, you talk about things he or she said at a time. There's like 8 topics.
Yeah.
Maybe 9 if the moderators really squeeze them in there. Hello. Yeah. And so how many questions do you need to know?
Yeah, those aren't the type of questions that it's like, it's not like they came on and said, well, which episode of Dukes of Hazzard did Cooter show up in first?
Right.
You're not going to know that.
The capital of Vermont is Montpelier.
Yeah.
Like, how did he know? The only way he knew that is if he had the questions in advance.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Lloyd Benson was the candidate debating Dan Quayle.
We're not going to turn into a solely political podcast.
No.
But we're not going to avoid it like the plague, like we have.
Right.
We're just not. And if you enjoy what we do, stick around.
And if I can be serious, go out and vote. Register to vote. Go out and vote.
Yes.
Yeah. Vote several times if you can.
And soon, because I want my dogs back.
Right.
I don't know where. Boobai is in an undisclosed location.
This portion of our show is brought to you by Whoppers All Beef Footlong Hot Dogs. Hi, I'm Dave Lay. Are you tired of buying mediocre brand hot dogs that claim to be a foot long, but in actuality are only around 11 inches long? That seriously pisses me off. It's like, hey, who you trying to screw here, pal? Get a ruler and measure it yourself. If you find a Whoppers hot dog that isn't a foot long, they'll refund your money. Guaranteed.
That's right.
Whoppers, America's favorite foot-long hot dog. Get your Whoppers All Beef Footlong t-shirt now at irritabledadsyndrome.com. Now back to you guys in the studio.
Can I continue the blankety blank basketball league of America story? So this is not the same basketball league. I falsely pumped that up. It's a different one. It's akin to it.
Similar.
So it was tryouts. Bess was sick. She had the vid or something. She had an alien. I don't know, something she could not be. She could not do things. And we had to it was one of those where we're splitting up the responsibilities for the weekend because here's a fun fact, kids. If you don't have kids, when you're an adult and you have kids, you still have responsibilities. It doesn't matter if you're sick or you just don't feel like it.
That's horrible what I just said.
Or you're dead. It's fine. The point is,
they get to have a weekend. They get to have
the point is
day off.
But you don't really.
I love my kids.
I do.
I love my kids very much.
I love my kids. I mean, I enjoy your kids. I don't love your. This is getting weird.
Yeah. I'm very fond of your children.
I'm fond of your children as well.
There you go. Yeah.
My point is, one of my points that I've come to now is that if you're sick, have you noticed? Let me ask you this.
Okay.
When one of you is sick, is that the parent the kids want to deal with and mess with and talk to and all that stuff? Or do they leave the sick one alone and go to the well one?
Libby she could have a railroad stake through her chest, and they would not come and ask me a question. Okay. They're like, well, we got to figure this out on our own.
So longtime listeners know that I like to sit at the computer and grind my camos.
That's slang for
Call of Duty.
Plays the video games.
It's not kind of weird slang. And then right next to that area is the stairs that go up to the bedroom, and Bess will be up there sick. One of our kids will come near the room where I'm at, scream up the stairs to Bess to come down and make them lunch, and I'm sitting right there. And she'll actually say, "Why don't you ask your dad? He's right there."
Ask your father.
Yeah. And then they'll say, "Well, he's busy," or "You do it better." One of the ways in which she does it better, she cuts off the crust
and
the edges of the bread and doesn't give them any. I will cut off the crust, but I'll still be like, there's starving kids in Botswana that could use this crust that you're just throwing away. And they, so they don't want to deal with my.
Okay.
They're like, I just want a crustless jelly sandwich in Charlie's case because he hates peanut butter.
You've told me that.
In this whole thing.
Jacob doesn't like peanut butter either.
Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. If you don't have kids, then you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. You can be sick, do whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basketball. We're back basketball. So Bess was sick. I'm taking Charlie to his basketball tryout. They have specific times you have to be there. For his grade, it was starting at 11 to 11:45. I was given instructions. Charlie and his friend Jack want to be on the same team. And I'm like,
well,
okay, I don't have control over that. Right. And then I got oh, yes, you do. There will be a lady, and you'll tell her. You remember back when I talked about the sphere, and there was a lady by the rock that I had to go meet?
Yeah.
So this is a lady at the basketball league.
Was it the same lady?
Different lady.
Oh, okay.
And different mission.
Yeah.
Similar result. I get there, and we get in the line, and I hear some foreshadowing from another parent that we know from somewhere else, and I'm terrible with names and where I know people, so I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay.
But they say, this is going crazy. More kids have shown up for this than they were planned for. Uh-oh. They're running, quote, very, very behind.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So then I see Jack's mom is there. She's just a couple people up from me and Charlie in the line. And I said, Bess told me, and she's like, yeah, we need to make sure they get on the same team. She's like, I'll tell the lady. I was like, and I said, quote, is that the lady? And pointed to a lady.
Right.
She's a lady. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
She said,
you're on the right track.
She said, that's the one I'm going to tell.
Okay.
It's like, okay.
So you got a plan.
So we went through the whole line. We get to the lady. And
the lady
that she has already talked to. And I say, by the way, this is Charlie. And I give one of those like wink and nod things,
yeah.
And she's like, oh, is it Charlie with Jack over there?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, that Charlie.
Yeah.
So then she wrote in red pen,
oh,
Jack's
Holy
name
crap.
on Charlie's thing.
She means
and they
business.
had Jack's name, they had their names on there. So I'm like, this is going to work.
Yeah.
So we go in there, and now there's no instruction past that. They say, go into the area where the kids eat lunch, and then right next to that is the gym where they're doing the tryouts. We go in there, all the kids have numbers.
Okay.
None of us know what's going on. Jack's mom is sitting there at the same table with me and Charlie and Jack, and she's like, when are we supposed to go? I was like, I don't know. I don't think they have the 5th graders in there yet, and they're running really behind, so we'll just see. We're waiting. We keep seeing kids like move at this other end of the table and file in, and then there's no comment about anything. And then a man stands up.
Wait,
he was already there.
Not a lady.
Not a lady.
A man.
A man.
Okay.
Stands up and starts calling names. And I don't mean he just stands up and he's like, Jason. I think it's Jason's dad looking for Jason.
Right.
Right?
Okay. A reasonable theory.
Yeah. And then he pulls up a clipboard. He has a clipboard.
Oh.
He looks at it. He's like, Jason, and he said the last name. Then he stopped. He's looking around. And then he said, Charlie. And I like, and me and Charlie are looking at each other. And then he said, Jack. Is there a Jack here?
Uh-huh.
Jack. Then he goes on to the next name.
Was nobody answering him?
No. All the parents, we were all looking at each other like,
why didn't you?
I stood up. I stood up.
Okay.
I went over to this man.
Well, I was going to say, of course he's going to keep saying names if nobody's saying anything.
Now get this in your brain. This is a large room. This is where the kids eat lunch.
Oh.
I'm walking from where all the parents and kids are across this room up to this man who's just randomly calling out names with no explanation. And I go to him, and he turns his back to me, and he's calling out another name. Michael. Jonah. Jonah. Is there Jonah? Chuck? Just doing that over and over. And I say, excuse me.
Denise.
Yeah. Aaron. I say, excuse me. And he said, I haven't, I'll call the name. I'm like, but okay, you did say Charlie. And my son's name is Charlie. And there's another Jackie. He's like, I didn't call Charlie. He's like, I think you did. It's a different Charlie. I was like, okay.
Well, how the hell should I know?
You didn't call the last name.
Right.
You just said, well, he was a different Charlie. Okay.
Well, how does he know? Because you haven't told him which.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
The X-Files music is starting to play in the back of my head while this is going on. I don't know in actually what's happening. And he said, I will remember Charlie and Jack, and I'll call them when it's time. And I go and I sit down. Jack's mom leans forward and says, what happened? I was like, I don't know what's happening. He's just calling names. He said he'll call. And then I hear Charlie, Jack. And then Charlie and Jack are looking at me, and I'm like, just go up there.
Yeah. And
they're like, really? And now we're in this thing, really? Do I go? Do I go? Do I not go? Do I go? Do I go? No, I go. Do I go? They went up there, and then he told them where to sit. And then other parents looked at me like I had solved the...
the mysteries of the universe.
It was like the Rubik's Cube. Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade.
Yeah.
When he actually chose the correct cup and he drank and he didn't die. The way all the people still left alive looked at him.
But in Latin, Jehovah starts with an I.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like. And then it was like, as names were called, then kids started standing up and walking over. And I got progressively more pissed. I was like, how many kids were we going to go through before somebody went up and said, what the are you doing?
Because it's like, are you calling names that are picked for the team or names that aren't?
Yeah.
Because I have been at a place, I think it was with, it was either band or choir tryouts or something like that. And they called 8 names.
Yeah.
And then these were the kids who went home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's cruel.
Yeah. Let's start with a list of those who suck.
Horrible. Right. And that's been in, they've done that in movies too. Step forward, you guys can all leave.
So, listeners, I think I talked about Charlie having basketball tryouts in the Glop episode.
Yep.
This is the second.
Oh, and that was a good episode.
We go in there, and one of the coaches from those tryouts, remember I said none of them were looking at Charlie when he did anything.
Right.
Charlie would do amazing things, and the coaches would all be looking the different way. And then they would look at a kid, and the kid would like not Charlie or like a kid would miss or whatever. Then you turn around and look at another kid, and then this kid would start making threes. It was like every kid they looked at, as soon as they looked at him, he would start missing everything. We went through that whole thing again. So Charlie is on one of the teams, and my assumption is with Jack. But my point is, this has been a podcast that's been around for 4 years at this point.
Yeah.
I've had 2 kids go through this basketball thing, and 2 podcast episodes have had a story about the basketball setting this whole thing up where I'm like, what in the hell is happening here?
Right.
What are you guys doing?
It's not that hard.
Just have a sign on you that says, I'm calling names that need to sit at this table.
Or,
Announce it.
Hey, parents.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm going to call the names. If I say your son's name, just send him over to me.
Yeah. And if you call...
I'm one of the stupidest people in the world, and I figured that out.
Some would say that Charlie is a relatively common name. Relatively.
Yes.
So
as is Jack.
If you call a Charlie, and then a dad comes up to you and says, I think you called Charlie, your first response shouldn't be, not your Charlie, a different Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know who I am. You don't know who he is.
Right.
You just know you got 2 Charlies.
Uh-huh.
That's it.
You know what? They should have had a head-to-head Charlie versus Charlie one-on-one basketball competition.
Yeah.
A game of horse.
Or arm wrestling. Cage match. Whatever needs to happen.
You're listening to Irritable Dad Syndrome, now with more bacon.
Last week, Libby and I, we went downtown Cincinnati. Okay,
Cincinnati.
We went,
The natty.
Cincinnati, as some folk call it.
I had a teacher in high school call it Cincinnati. Yeah.
And one of the things that we were talking in Mike's kitchen before we came downstairs to do this, there is a town across the river called Newport, Kentucky. And they have Newport on the Levee, which is a giant shopping center. It has a mall and has all these restaurants. And they hang their hat on the fact that you can come to their restaurant and see a gorgeous view of downtown Cincinnati. And I'm surprised that Newport doesn't just do that on their tourism. Come to Newport and see Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's like inviting someone to your house to look at the mansion across the street.
Across the street, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went downtown and we were going...
I'm not saying that Newport's a house, but if someone says to me, Newport a house, I'd agree.
It's in Kentucky.
Excuse me.
So we're going to the Buddy Walk, okay? And the Buddy Walk is a walk that raises money and awareness for people with Down syndrome. We're going down there. I haven't been downtown in a while.
Yeah, I haven't either.
And I was unfamiliar with where to park close to this event where the walk is.
Where was the walk?
It was at Smell Park.
The Banks?
Smell Park.
Okay.
Smell Park.
Yeah.
Anyway, we found a parking garage. I prefer to park in a garage than try to find someplace on the street.
Yeah.
I would just much rather park in the garage.
So you know where your car is. That's me.
Yes.
Yeah. Just in there.
So we park in this garage, find a space very quickly, very easily, and then we start walking to Smell Park. Really, we walked a long way. I could have parked much closer. I lost track of where I was. Anyway, so we do the Buddy Walk, and it's great. We're having a good time. We're done. We walk back, and we get to the car. And we're trying to leave this parking garage. And the point of my story is, have you ever told a joke that just totally goes over somebody's head?
All the time.
Because, this really, really happened. We're in the parking garage, and I pull out, and I go to the entrance where I pulled in, and I was going to exit there also.
One would think that's what you do.
Blocked off.
Oh.
It is completely blocked off. There's nobody there. The gate ain't going to open, and it's also blocked off.
Oh.
Like, okay. So I backed up and drove around and around and around, and I find another entrance/exit also blocked off.
My question is, what the hell?
We're concerned now.
Yeah. I've read there's a Reddit horror story about a parking garage that you can't get out of.
Well, there's an episode of Seinfeld where they couldn't find that.
That's true. Yeah.
So we're driving probably, I would say, 10 minutes in this parking garage,
that's a
around
long
and
time
around
to
and
be
around.
in a parking garage.
And we finally found one. There.
Yeah.
That has a guy.
Yeah.
So we pull into that, and I'm trying to put my ticket into the thing. He waves at me, meaning give him the ticket.
Yeah.
I gave him the ticket, and I say, we've been driving around for like 10 minutes trying to find a way. I didn't think we'd ever get out of here. And he said, $7. I gave him my credit card, and
you
he hates his job.
Yeah.
$7. That's his, no. Oh, yeah, we close off those two because it's...
That's how Mike Ehrmantraut got his start.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wasn't happy with it
call
either.
Saul. No.
You reminded me of a story that I never told on here. And this just happened a few months ago. At GetaFest. I went to GetaFest.
Do you like Geta?
No.
Okay.
But Fancher does. It was when he was in town.
Okay.
So I went to go.
Yeah, Geta is basically sausage and oatmeal. Am I right?
Yeah, and sawdust. And I think cuticles.
Tweezers.
Yeah.
Cuticles? Cuticles is so much funnier than tweezers. I wish I'd said cuticles.
Earwax. There's everything's in there.
Well, you fry it in earwax.
That's yeah. Well, for the traditional method of
preparation. Yeah. If you're from Cincinnati, you do it that
Cincinnati.
way.
So I parked in the Newport parking garage. Right there where it's connected to all the so you can look at the city.
Yeah.
I had to get out of there to actually it was to take Charlie to one of his tryouts, a game or something. I had to be home to get Charlie in time to go to a game or something. And I left when it was like a half hour left, a half hour window.
Right.
And I get in the parking garage and it is at a standstill. So this parking garage is one of those where you pay before you go to your car. So you have the ticket that lets you out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you pay inside the shopping center thing.
Yeah. And the reason they do that is so that the parking garage will empty faster, that you don't have at the thing trying to, I won't take my card.
I don't have exact change.
What's a QR code? That you don't have to deal with.
I was driving all around and I couldn't find a way out of here.
It's a modern method that I think is perfect.
I'm for
putting the dip outside of the flow.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So what's the holdup? Why am I sitting here for 20 minutes?
Damn.
25? I forget what it was. There's a whole text thread between me and Bess that got progressively more and more cussy with me losing my mind stuck in this parking garage.
I like the word dip.
Yeah. And I get to the end where I can finally see, that glorious moment where you can see the light outside and you see this is how I get out. Mm-hmm. And what do I see but a parking attendant leaning down, taking people's cards, feeding it into the machine, doing the transaction for them, and then giving them the receipt.
Why?
And my first thought was,
how hard?
Why? Why are you here?
Why?
My second was, is this, now I have to pay twice? I get up to him and I hold him the ticket and he's like, oh, you've already paid.
Yeah.
And he's like, just took the ticket, beep, and it opened and left. And I said, and I quote, you got to be kidding me, as I was driving out. Not at him, but just in general. Because I was stuck there for so long because that many people didn't follow the signs. Y'all who aren't from around here, when you're in Newport, and for about a half a mile outside of Newport, every 10 feet is a sign saying, pay your ticket before you get in your car.
You moron.
It's everywhere. It's over the urinals.
Yes. It's in the movie theater.
There's biplanes that are writing it in the sky.
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman talks about it at the theater.
AMC,
It's everywhere.
I had it mixed into my ice cream at Stone Cold Creamery.
Yeah. I got a phone call on the way to my car. By the way, did you, this is Tony Danza.
Hi.
Did you pay your ticket?
He needs work.
It's
But he's a triple threat.
He is.
Tony Danza, man. He was the boss.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Anyway, you reminded me of that.
Tony Danza.
This portion of our show is brought to you by the Corky Beehive Max Toilet Plunger, the world's most powerful plunger. Hi, I'm Dave Lay. Are you tired of breaking your back trying to unclog a nasty, impossibly blocked up toilet? Well, stand back, Troy. Do I have a product for you? The Beehive Max Toilet Plunger fits all toilet brands, including Kohler, with no splashback and powerful clog removal. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why the hell do they call it the Beehive Max? Well, it's because this plunger actually looks like a beehive. It's quite brilliant, really. Run out and buy one for every bathroom in your home, because there's nothing more embarrassing than having company over and having to yell, "Hey honey, can you bring me the plunger?" The Corky Beehive Max Toilet Plunger, available everywhere quality toilet repair products are sold. Now, back to the show.
Last year when I was hanging up Christmas lights, I was putting some on my front porch.
Yeah.
And I found a little trick that works really well to get the lights on there and to keep them on there. You can use bread ties.
Yeah.
The little aluminum
yes.
that on the loaf of bread.
Yeah.
So I started saving them. It's like we'd get a loaf of bread and I would save the bread tie. I didn't really think about it, right? Last week, I'm going through my drawer and I'm trying to find... It's like the junk drawer. You got a screwdriver, a flashlight, some batteries. And I knew that we had something in there that I just had to have.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are there so many damn bread ties in here?
Yeah.
I've got an entire sandwich bag packed full, like probably 100 these sandwich ties.
You could do a craft.
I know. Oh my God. And like if I had died and my kids went through my house, why does Dad have all these bread ties? It's like the first sign of a hoarder.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking what I could do with these. You go to the airport and you take your sandwich bag full of bread ties, and of course they're going to find it when you go through security. And then y'all see you in hell. You won't take those, damn it. Start, kicking and screaming and don't.
Okay.
No, you're not taking those. And then I thought, well, what if I give them all individual names? There's all kinds of things I can do when I lose my mind.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to do that. But I'm keeping the bread ties.
Okay.
And I'm saving more bread ties.
Yeah.
I'm going to see how many I can get before Libby or the boys say, Dad, I think you have a problem. Because if I can outnumber, because I've talked about my collection of my Cheerwine bottle caps. If I can get more bread ties and bottle caps, then by God, then we got a show.
Here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
This is what and I'm dead serious.
Okay.
And you can edit this out as you need. I suggest you leave it in.
That's what she said.
But whatever you feel like doing. I want you to make a necklace from your bread ties.
Okay.
A nice one.
Yeah. Oh, nothing but the best. I'll color coordinate it.
Yeah. And we're going to sell that on eBay. And we're going to connect it to the show.
Okay.
I want some really good pictures of you with your bread tie necklace
the
on.
money will go to charity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just we'll pick a charity, and we'll send a charity. I want to see if we can get an eBay bidding war for your bread tie
necklace.
Bread tie necklace.
Brilliant.
We're doing it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to pull out all the stops.
Okay.
My writing abilities.
Okay.
The famous podcast host, Darin Cox.
Yeah.
After years of saving up classic bread ties, has made a one-of-a-kind show original.
We're
going to beef it up. I want to see how much we can get together for charity.
This reminds me, a few years ago on the Facebook, when I worked at Channel 5, I had an empty Tic Tac box. And I went on Facebook, I said, free Tic Tac box.
Yeah.
First come, first serve. And the first comment was, well, how much is it? I said, it's free.
Yeah.
And then second person, what's the catch? There's no catch. It's a free Tic Tac box. Will you deliver it? I'm like, well, where are you? That depends. If you're far away, I can't do that. But if you're local, sure.
Yeah.
And then I'll give you $5 for it. It's free. I mean, and I'm very lucky. And over the years, I have fallen into a large group of people with very good senses of humor. We got like comments in the hundreds, of like 100, 150 or something like this. And then a bidding war happened for it. Then people still said, listen, Darin, you haven't told me how much it is. It's free, right? And I'm playing along.
Yeah.
And I finally gave it to my friend Carly.
Okay.
And then there was a hate thing against Carly because I showed her preferential treatment.
Yeah.
Right. She was the first person who, claimed it.
Yeah.
So I think that if we can get the same traction that Tic Tac box got.
I think we can.
I think we can.
I think this is a winner.
Money in the bank. License to print money, my friend.
Uh-oh.
One of the things I've talked about several times is I still listen to local radio. When I'm driving Cameron to school, I usually listen to 92.5 The Fox.
Kids, radio is what happens when you turn your car on and you haven't paired your phone to it yet.
I can't pair my phone because
I'm telling the kids.
You screwed that up.
Okay.
You paired your phone to my car, right?
Yeah.
And then now I can't pair my phone to the car.
Yeah.
And so you're like, well,
I
Papa.
thought I unpaired.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
You're like, Papa, let me show you, boomer, how to do it.
Yeah.
So you
I
get
don't
in
even
my
have
car.
to say it anymore. You just say it yourself.
Yeah. No, you got in my car and you're like,
Yeah.
Okay. Let me try this.
Mm.
Why is it not doing that? Exactly. Why is it not doing that, Mike? Yeah. And you couldn't get it to, and then it said, I need to divorce my phone from your car.
Oh.
So you divorced your phone from my car.
Yeah.
And you, Mr. I know everything, still couldn't pair my phone.
I came close.
You still can't pair my phone to my car.
Don't you threaten me.
You can't do it.
I can do it.
No, you can't.
I came really close.
You tried and you couldn't. Anyway, I listen to local radio. I usually listen to 92.5 The Fox. In the morning, they have Bob and Tom. And anymore, like this morning I was listening, and I swear I thought Tom was going to jump across the desk and choke Chick McGee to within an inch of his life, but he didn't. And then if I'm driving around, they listen to classic rock. Okay. On my car radio.
Foo Fighters.
Yeah, Foo Fighters for some reason are classic rock now.
I was trying to be funny. Are they seriously?
They're playing Foo Fighters on there, and Pearl Jam and Nirvana, and
God.
They're not classic rock.
No.
But here lately, though, 92.5 The Fox is playing a lot of Iron Maiden, and they played Motorhead.
Okay. Well, Iron Maiden's on tour right now.
Yeah, well, they're playing a lot of heavy metal classic rock.
Okay.
And they used to stick basically to Black Crowes and Boston and Aerosmith.
Yeah.
And now they're getting a little harder.
Hello.
My point is, my car radio tells you the name of the artist and the name of the song when it comes up, right?
Yeah.
So a song was playing. I looked down at my radio, and it said "Slide It In" by Whitesnake.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that wasn't Whitesnake at all. That was it was somebody else. It was like the Black Crowes.
Okay.
And then I'm still driving.
Sounds Black Crowy.
Yeah, it didn't.
Yeah.
The next song comes on, and it hasn't changed. It still says "Slide It In" by Whitesnake.
Okay.
A third song comes on, "Slide It In," Whitesnake. It was on that for like 2 days. Every time I turned on my radio, I could change to 98.5. I could go to 103.5. I went back to 92.5. Still "Slide It In" by Whitesnake. It finally changed.
Yeah.
And the next song was "Let's Get It Up" by AC/DC. My radio station has got a dirty mind.
I'm just saying, I mean, well, AC/DC, 95% of AC/DC songs are about Brian Johnson's balls.
But seriously, you go from "Slide It In" to "Let's Get It Up"?
Yeah. Yeah. I just don't even know.
The story goes nowhere, but I still like it.
It's time now for the Kroger Story of the Week.
This is one of my biggest pet peeves.
Okay.
When you go to Kroger or you go to any grocery store, and I don't understand why they do this with the milk. Okay, sometimes milk will be $2.99 a gallon, but the half gallons are $1.79. Okay, so 2 half gallons cost more than a gallon.
Yeah, you buy in bulk.
I don't understand that.
It's a packaging price.
I don't understand why. Let's say get milk, because I'm tired of doing milk math.
Okay.
If milk was $2.99, let's just bump that up to $3. Okay, $3 for a gallon of milk.
Yeah.
The half gallon should be $1.50 a peach.
Yeah, but you can't.
Not a peach. $1. Jesus Christ. The half gallon should be $1.50 a piece.
Yeah, but they want you to buy the full gallon.
Why?
Because it's less labor it's more expensive for them to make the half gallons than it is to make the full gallon.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. That's why buying in bulk is cheaper.
I don't get that.
Yeah.
I don't get that at all.
So let's
because here I went to the store and I usually buy 2 gallons of milk, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this time I'm buying 1 gallon of milk.
Okay.
But I saw that the half gallons were on sale. They were $1.39. I'm like, hold on, Darin. Okay, so 1 gallon of milk is $2.99. 2 half gallons at $1.39 a piece is with 2. It's less than $3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's less. But I had a coupon for the gallon.
Yeah.
75 cents off.
Yeah.
So now I'm subtracting from the gallon.
Okay.
You're
thinking too much. Let me break this down.
I ended up buying the gallon with the coupon because it was cheaper than buying the 2 half gallons that were on sale. And I'm like, I hate math.
Let's break this down.
Okay.
Let's say I have a cow in my backyard.
Okay.
Let's call the cow Myrtle. That's a good cow name.
Okay. And it's about to get eaten if it goes up to Springfield, Ohio.
Exactly.
Okay.
So let's say you come to visit and you say, I want a bowl of cereal.
Yeah.
We take your bowl, we put cereal in it, we go out, we grab one of Myrtle's teats.
No.
What?
And we
not straight from
straight
gross.
from the cow.
Oh, gross.
It's the easiest way to eat it. Right there. Now, you say, I don't want to do that.
I don't
right?
want to do that.
You don't want to go right straight from the teat.
I don't.
Right. So you want to package it in something. Well, the cheapest is just to empty out old Myrtle into like what, half a drum? Just it takes some time, but you just empty. I don't
know how much
out.
milk.
Let's just say
usually comes from one.
Let's say 10 gallons comes out of Myrtle.
Okay.
All right.
If Dad were around, he could tell me.
Yeah. So you have 2 5-gallon pails, and you fill them up, and you drag them in. Now you use that to, don't look at what they're typing. You got to listen to me. You got to stay with me here.
He makes a point.
2 5-gallon pails. Then you say, I just want a 1 gallon. Now you have to have packaging for 5 1-gallon things.
Mm-hmm.
Now you want a half gallon. I have 2 half gallons for each 1 gallon. It's more work. It's more labor to put that together to do than it is just to get it out of the pail. More math.
Yeah.
You're paying. That's what you're paying for is the packaging and the labor. And then there's also the little we don't want to deal with it tax that they throw on there.
Right.
It's easier for them to produce the larger bulk items, so they'll give you a price cut on them.
Okay.
As opposed to all this little packaging that they don't want to deal with.
Do you want to know how stupid I am?
What?
I will tell you how stupid I am.
And they're right there. What Stump says.
Stump Woodley, 2 half gallons takes up more storage space than 1 gallon. That's why you got a higher transport price. Okay. When I worked at Winn-Dixie, I worked in the dairy frozen food department.
Yeah.
I used to stock the milk shelves. I used to do that all the time. You can fit 4 gallons of milk in one crate, and you could fit 9 half gallons into the crate. And I was befuddled. I was like,
What happened?
huh?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Well, it's
how
like that. It's like that chocolate bar problem.
Exactly,
Where you take
yeah.
the one. Yeah.
And then finally, somebody smarter than I am, thank God Chester was there, told me that you got the negative space between in the 4 corners, and that's where you.
Yeah.
That's right. But I'm like, how do you get 9 in here and 4 in there?
Yeah.
It's Harry Potter. I was. That's how dumb I am, Mike.
No,
I'm so dumb. I'm the dumbest. My kids are going to listen. God, Dad, you're really
But
dumb.
I will tell you, I work in manufacturing. We want to sell the biggest package that we can because it's the easiest to produce. It's the cheapest.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's part of what it is.
This has been the Kroger Story of the Week.
Here's another story of how dumb I am. Last weekend, Cameron was invited to a friend's house. They were going to play Dungeons and Dragons. The kids,
satanic?
Kids call it D&D.
Yeah,
right?
I call it Lucifer's tic-tac-toe. I don't know what the hell that means.
Lucifer's Tic-Tac-Toe. That's the title of the podcast. Yeah. So I've got the address of this kid's house. It's 1068. And I'm on the street, and I'm driving Cameron there, and I'm looking, and on this particular street, the houses go 1010, 1020, 1030, 1040.
What's the last 0 for?
Where's the other? Where's all the missing houses? Okay.
Yeah.
Why are they skip? Because I've seen like odd numbered houses on one side, even numbers on the other side.
Yeah.
That's very common. I've seen lots of houses, many houses. No one knows houses more than Darin Cox.
Plethora. Some would say.
So many.
A plethora.
I drive up to 1070. I'm like, here we are. And Cameron says, Dad, this isn't his house. I said, Cameron, it's got to be his house.
Yeah.
And he says, Dad, this isn't his house. I'm like, Cameron, look, you saw the streets.
The X-Files music comes in.
30, 40, 50, 60, 70.
Let me ask you a question.
I told Cameron, I said, your friend had to have texted you the wrong number. Never did I think that maybe Darin was wrong.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This kid clearly doesn't know where he lives. So not only am I stupid, but I'm a bad father because I said, dude, just go ring the doorbell. They're home.
You're not a bad father.
Cameron gets out of the car.
Yeah.
And he's reluctantly walking up to the door. He doesn't want to ring the doorbell because Cameron knows that's the wrong house.
You're willing to send your kid into the wrong house.
To a complete...
Yeah, it's a complete...
Maybe they'll play Dungeons and Dragons with you.
Yeah.
And he looks, shakes his head, starts texting, and he comes back and says, Dad, that's not his house. I'm like, where in the hell is his house?
Yeah.
Because it's not
Here.
It's just like Harry Potter again. The 3 1/3 or whatever.
You just got to run your car through 9 3/4,
Yes.
whatever. Yeah.
So Cameron texts this kid who clearly doesn't know where he lives.
Uh-huh.
And the kid tells us, "Where are you?" And he says, "We're on blank street."
We're
He goes,
in Indiana.
He says, blank street goes all the way around. It's like you can go, did you go left on blank street or right on blank street when you came up to the sign?
Yeah.
We're like, left. You need to go right.
Of course.
I'm like, this stupid kid. So I back the car out and I'm driving. And of course, if you go right, then you see 6'2", 6'4", 6'8".
Yeah.
I'm like, I told you that's where his house was. And Cameron, never. Cameron's such a good kid.
Yeah.
He never said, "Dad, I told you so."
Uh-huh.
But you could tell that he had that look in his eyes like, Dad's always joking about waving at cars wearing his robe in the front yard.
Yeah.
It's coming sooner than later.
Yeah. There's a little list. There's a little checklist in their heads. Daddy's lost his mind. And you just went,
I
one of them
told
got
him
checked
to
off.
go ring the doorbell.
Oh, yeah.
A complete stranger would have come
That's
out.
what a dad does. You double down.
Yeah.
I never admit that I'm wrong. I'll fight to the death over it.
I thought this stupid kid didn't know where he lived. Why would you accidentally tell somebody the wrong house?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I need a nap.
Never
I need a
admit
vacation.
defeat. Yeah.
I think I have low sugar. I need to eat. I need a snack. Well, listen, guys, we're going to go. We appreciate you listening to this episode, even though we started out political and hanging out to the end. God love you. You're the best. You're my favorite listener of all time. We want you to go to irritabledadsyndrome.com. And, hey, if you go to irritabledadsyndrome.com, you can buy our political t-shirts.
Oh, we got a whole one of them.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty funny.
Irritable Dad Syndrome 2024.
Yeah.
Wear that when you go vote.
Wear
and
that
see
with
if they try to kick you out like they did when I wore my Vote for Pedro shirt when I voted one time, and they told me I couldn't wear it in there.
Yeah.
You tried voting with your The Dude campaign shirt.
Yeah, and I'm going to vote with my Turd Ferguson one this year.
I think I'm going to wear my That's What She Said, Scott and Shroot.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
That was his 2020, so.
Be on the lookout. Follow us on the Facebooks and be on the lookout for the debut of the first unique Irritable Dad Syndrome jewelry.
Yes. My
charity
my bread tie necklace.
Yeah.
I will start working on that tomorrow.
Boy, that's gonna turn some
It's gonna
heads.
change things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think of the stories you could tell people when you have your one of a kind.
What should we start the bidding at? What do you think?
At least a quarter.
It's gonna go higher, like $5.
I know this. I go crazy.
Guys, we hope to see you next week on Irritable Dad Syndrome. Bye.
Irritable Dad Syndrome is a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.
Wait.
But wait, there's more. There's millions and millions of people are listening to us live right now. You had no point.
I had an out-of-body experience just now. It left for the teams.
For the basketball team.
Son of a bitch. It was tryouts. Yeah. You're going to have fun with this one.
Hold on a second. Snoop's coming to Springfield?
No. I'm confidently going on the record now that he was not,
okay,
is not, will not. I wanted to have a more recent reference.
Yeah. No. No. That's the best. Tony Danza.
I should probably open up the rundown and start going on the planned path.
Thank God I planned.
I do appreciate that you plan.
It keeps us from rambling.
You know, that's true.
It
but
does.
A lot of podcasts ramble.
I know.
I started listening.
Honest to God, that's why a lot of people hate podcasts. And listen to me. Yeah. There are so many people out there who hate podcasts that they will not give our podcast a chance.
True. When I was 12,
I
was thinking about this the other day. If someone had given me a ukulele, listen to me. If someone had given me a ukulele and I had really applied myself, I think I would have a lot of money right now. I think I would have made a career out of playing the ukulele.
Yeah?
It doesn't look that hard.
Okay.
It's only...
Do you realize how many ukulele players that you just offended? All two of them?
I don't care. I don't care. I'm damn near 50.
Uh-huh.
I have a marginally successful podcast. and a cut thumb. I don't care.
Where are you going with this ukulele thing?
Nowhere. I had 3 things in succession I thought I could talk about, but they're not. They have no comedic value. So what you just watched me was curating memories. No. Folks, I do periodically not say something. So if you're like, all he does is just vomit whatever's in his head, yes, but I do have some discernment.
It is nice to know that occasionally you will edit.
I do self-edit. We should do that. We should have meetings with our patrons.
If they would come, yeah. I would be happy to.
I bet half of them don't even know that they're still paying for it. I swear.